and I had a similarly difficult childhood, so I've spent a lot of the last 12 years wondering about why I'm still here and he's not. And,
difficulties of what nature, if I may ask?
You may. We were both sexually abused by a family member. So fairly extreme difficulties. And we took very different routes. And one of the things that I've been picking up on is the need for a variety of services to meet different needs. So, there's not a lot of a variety of things available easily. And the other thing is I now, this might be the most important thing, I now run workshops for people who've been bereaved by suicide and people who work with people who are suicidal. And one of the things that comes out over and over again is the relief at being able to be with other people who have had similar experiences. And I was once in a room with a group of people who actually all knew each other and hadn't told each other that they'd been bereaved by suicide. Even though they knew each other quite well and talked about lots of things, they didn't talk about that. And so the taboo is still very strong, I think. You know, it's not that long ago that it was illegal to kill yourself. So, you know, I agree with what other callers were saying about just the need for more openness around it. But also the other thing we found is that we work with what needed to die, assuming that it wasn't the whole person, and what needed to live. And very often the other thing that we find is that although there's a very strong personal aspect to that, it also has some collective resonance. So when you work with that process with people from the family or close friends or colleagues, whoever it is that's come to the workshop, you find that what the thing that needed to live and the thing that needed to die also have some relevance in the community, in the family, in the workplace. So it's like depression is, you know, we're not depressed for no reason, although I agree, you know, there's a chemical basis for it, but also we're depressed for very good reasons because of things that have happened in the past or that are happening now. And things do need to change, and often a desire to kill yourself is a desire to change, to make some big change that feels difficult, that place of being between a rock and a hard place.
Sounds like you've channeled the tragedy in your life into something quite wonderful and helping other people, and I respect you so much for that, Kerry. Listen to Julian. You may be able to help him. Julian, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Nicky. How are you?
I'm all right.
Okay, well, I mean, I can come into this conversation from both sides, really. I mean, the initial start of today was, have you ever been affected by suicide? And I have. My own mother committed suicide when I was 24. I was recently married. I had a 2-week-old baby, but it wasn't enough for her. Her own depression was just too much. And I think basically she just sought peace. And I respect her for that and I understand that because I am also a sufferer of depression and have been for many, many years. Do
you think there's a hereditary aspect?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I believe that depression isn't caused. Nothing causes depression.
Maybe it's exacerbated, maybe it's made worse.
Exactly, exactly. What I'm finding, I was saying to your researcher that I've just started cognitive behavioural therapy to help me in my own struggle with this. And what I'm starting to realise is that I am a depressive, and it's a disease that I live with, and what it does is it affects my ability to be able to deal with situations that arise. What affects me might not affect someone who doesn't suffer from depression. And once I've started to realise that, I've started to be able to understand that my mother's own suicide didn't cause my depression. I'm not depressed because my mother killed herself. I'm depressed because I suffer from depression, and my own depression affects my ability to be able to deal with the situation that I find in life. Currently, I'm separated from my wife because of my depression. It led me to seek out any possible way that I could to sort of find an inner peace within myself. And the roads that I took involved drug taking, pornography, and finally an affair, to do anything to distract myself from the just awful feelings of despair and loneliness and isolation that I was feeling at that time.
Now, listen, Julian.
I feel now, yeah.
I need to leave time to give the helpline numbers out, and I don't want to have one of those phone-ins where you're talking right into the jingle, because it's too important that people have heard you, and we have heard you very clearly. And I can't thank you enough for calling us this morning. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Nicky.
And Kerry, likewise.
If I could just say one more thing, just very quickly.
Yeah.
If anyone has the time, please take a look at the Time for Change website, where you will be able to read blogs and stories from people who suffer from depression. And it may give you, if you don't suffer from depression yourself, it will give you an insight into what we're thinking.
What is it? Timeforchange.com? What is it?
It's timeforchange.co.uk. I think if you probably just Google Time for Change on the website.
Thanks, Julian. Listen, if any of the issues we have been discussing this morning affect you, bbc.co.uk/action line, you'll find contact details for a range of charities. The Mind Helpline, 0300 123 3393, 0300 123 3393, Samaritans 08457 9